my wish list. Silly putty.
Well, it's the silly season in the markets too. I remember in the old days when, back in the 90s when, screen trading was brand new and I was relatively new, 6-7 years in. And, the holiday week would always, you see some of the craziest moves on Wednesday, Friday, because it's super thin. Now without a floor, though, I wonder how that's changed. Like the last few years, it's never been the same, I would say, for 15 years. Holiday weeks are pretty like, boo, boo, boo.
Well, for sure, man, when those markets got thin, there was the ability to expose price discovery at a more, let's say, aggressive rate. That was price discovery was the job of the pit, right? And if there was less people in there, you could for sure push markets around and expose stops. We used to call it hunting for stops. And we're going to circle back to that, Matt. I like how, not arguments, just discussions sometimes are circular. And I wanted to just bring up a couple of giant geopolitical things. First, this one, and I think this was from a leaked back and forth between high-level Chinese Communist Party officials and officials in the Australian government. Mm-hmm. Basically, a little bit of sword rattling here. If you make China the enemy, China will be your enemy. Beijing's fresh threat to Australia. Now, we already know that China has banned coal imports from China. We saw last week that a large Chinese coal producer basically missed their debt payment. So it's pretty easy to ban Australian coal when you're not burning enough coal to begin with. You don't need their coal. It's not that hard of a stiff arm to give somebody if you don't need it. Anyway, this is a much bigger geopolitical thing, though, because you just don't get to tell China. China doesn't get to threaten Australia without the weight of the Commonwealth being imposed. And this was also directed because Australia has been in negotiations and signed a pact with Japan. So the whole region now, I think, has pivoted here to let's check China's growth and aggressiveness. And I just wanted to bring that up because you don't just get to threaten Australia as an enemy without fully taking on the Commonwealth. England, South Africa, Canada.
Yeah, well, listen, this is all part of the Great Reset program. Let's talk about the macro issues around the Great Reset. Europe's totally disaster zone, and Asia, outside of China, mainland China has been a disaster also for quite a while. So you've got a lot of pain going on in a lot of economies around the world, notwithstanding here in the U.S. yet. But the U.S. was kind of the last one standing. And yeah, there's a lot of saber rattling because there's a lot of pain going on in the economies of both China, mainland, and mainland Europe. Did you see the letter that Soros put out basically, saying, Hungary, his home country, Hungary and Poland, former Eastern Bloc commie countries, need to fall in line, right? That's what he wrote. He's like, you gotta follow Brussels, and Brussels is the leader of this new world order. And this stuff is real. What they want to do, what this new world order intends to do, is isolate the United States and then have us come into the fold with this new world order and then use our arsenal to take on China and Russia. This is the plan, by the way. This is the plan. It will fail drastically.
Yeah, well, because China can do what it wants to do inside its borders, but when it starts acting like this in the world community, it's not going to stand up.
No. Well, and then yesterday also you saw the saber rattling out of the Mideast again, and again it's because right now the thought that Biden could be president, like the saber rattling kicks up. It's so interesting that the saber rattling was gone for 4 years. We had none of this going on worldwide. And now
let me bring this one up. And this goes to the some of the pain in the country. Michigan, 545,000 hunters bought licenses in Michigan. Now, for sure, part of it is, a get away from COVID mentality. Michigan has always had a proud hunting tradition, but some people are looking to fill their freezer. Let's be honest. I mean, there's some pain out there.
Well, but also as a native born in the state of the Mitten, this 2 weeks has always, Ted Nugent wrote The Deer Camp. He wrote songs about hunting, right? So there are so many deer in Michigan. It's a problem. I mean, it's a huge problem. They need to kill them because they're eating crops. They're killing people on the roads because they hit them all the time. Just like it's happening here. You see it here in Oregon now. It's a big problem. Like you got to call the herd. And yeah, of course, and venison, man, you put that in your chili, you put that in your spaghetti sauce, killer.
No problem. And the back straps, I'm not sure if you're familiar. There's back straps, which are the most tender piece of the deer.
Yeah.
And I had a friend on the floor that would go hunting with his father-in-law, and he did it for several decades, and it was like 20 years in before he understood that his father-in-law never told him about the back straps and harvested all the back straps for himself. Anyway, I wanted to point out that number, 545,000. It's a giant number of hunters, and I just wanted to give it some relevance. It's now the what is it? The eighth largest standing army in the world.
Michigan.
They're just below South Korea.
Michigan militia.
The Michigan militia, and believe me, these numbers are the same in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in New York. I mean, let's face it.
We're being a tad facetious because it's not a technical army, but
it's for sure 545,000 people that have a gun.
Well, they have rifles, and they're able to rifle hunt, is what that license allows them.
My point is geopolitical. If globalism goes to shit, we have a lot of people that are bearing arms this year to go hunting to fill their freezer. But
how about Candace Owens on her latest rant last night, talking about how, basically everybody's, all the left weirdos have just they've lost all sense of common sense. And if you're not a weirdo or doing something really weird, then you're not normal anymore, which I was like, that is such a great rant, because that's how I feel. Like, when did common sense get thrown out the window? And just because, Bob, just because you want to, transphobic, I'm not afraid of trans. I'm not, and this is what she said. I'm not afraid of trans. I'm not afraid of homosexuals. That's what that means. I have no fear of those. I just find it, and she said, I just find them weird. And that's my opinion. You can't say that stuff, but you can't say that stuff anymore without offending the whole world.
You cannot have a conversation in general.
Well, how about this one? I heard on the terrestrial radio this morning, Kid Craddock. They were talking about the most watched TikToker, Charlie D'Amelio, who's this 18-year-old girl, pretty, who just is being paid a shit pile of money to showcase her life. Well, they were doing this bit where they had people over for dinner, some famous people, and they put like escargot into her paella, and she freaked out. And then everybody said, "Why don't you kill yourself?" Right? And so she had basically a breakdown, because this is her life, right? She's getting paid to be online, and then when people are mean to her, she loses her shit. Well, hello, honey, you're getting paid. Either buck up, you want fame and fortune, but if you don't want the fortune, you got to, the fame comes along with it. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. So get the frick off TikTok if you don't want it. You can change that, Charlie.
Mutual accountability is what we try to do here at MarketVitals. So, I think that goes along with that conversation.
So, hey, let me transition into taking a look at Smith & Wesson, since we're talking about guns.
Smith, a proud company, U.S. company, Smith & Wesson.
Okay, so this company has, bottomed out again in March, just like the rest of the country. Hit $4, has gone up again 5.5-fold, hit 22 here in September, has sold off a little bit again since the election, but still very bullish, far out of value. But to your point, Bob, they're obviously doing well. They're selling ammo, they're selling guns, and things are cooking. What I'd like to,
and what is your thought then? Because it looks like they're making another large congestion there on the profile.
yeah, it's spending some time here. As long as 15 holds, really 14. You can see I've got a mark there anyways. 14 goes, we'll probably come back and, come and fill these holes down in here, down to the 9s, possibly 7s. And that would be a great area to accumulate today, but that's not today. So it doesn't really matter. We can talk about it. But yeah, I think, as long as kind of 15 to 18 is kind of your bracket that you're, and this is how markets move, by the way. We talk about this all the time, but they tend to bracket, right? You've got basically, you've got the high end up here, let's just call it 18, and you've got another, whoops, out of control, crash.
It's Studio 54 here. We got the lights flying.
Right. But here's basically, this is the, and you can see it over here on the profile. This is right where we are. And we entered this when we broke out back in June. So we made it, we may shake down one more time and then come back into this before we resume back up. This is the way I
ping pong.
Right now it's ping pong. It may shake out. It shook out higher, came back into it. Now it's in it. It may shake out below it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But if it gets back above it and closes above it, then you've got this trampoline to, it becomes a trampoline when you get above, and it becomes, the ceiling when you get below. So that's the way you should think about markets, not based on my decision or how I feel about guns or how I feel about ammo. This is how you really need to look at markets objectively and prepare yourself. Ping pong until it breaks out. Otherwise, there's not much going on here.
Hey, while I see it there, pull up that DXY spread. Yeah, right there. No, one down. One more. The HEG, yeah, that one.
Yep.
We've been discussing inside Meet MD this spread, and let me, as a pupil of Matt Davio, let me just say that it appears that it wants to go check out that higher value, right around $2 under. And if it can enter the meet, if it can enter that, if it doesn't reject it, right, if that doesn't become a floor, if it enters into that value range, more than likely we go check out probably all the way down to the point of control. Yes or no?
Yeah. I mean, we already have like really quadruple topped, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 tries at busting out there, and now we're below kind of this pivot, which is 2 cents. And so they just got them positive, and yeah, the spread to me looks like it could come back to -5 for sure.
It's interesting too, because the dynamic in the hog market right now is so up in the air fundamentally. Like nobody knows what's going to go on here fundamentally. And so some people are looking at the spread saying, well, actually, I think the DXY chart is weaker, and that's why the spread's going to go to $5 because everything's weak. Well, lo and behold, today, the backs are stronger, right? So counter to what the reasoning of why the spread would go out, I mean, the exact opposite happened. And anyway, that's why I'm a slave to the chart and not to the story.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about Dr. Copper and a couple of the metals today while we're on the subject of guns and ammo. Copper has always been known as kind of a barometer, if you will, for the future health of the economy, right? Copper's needed in chips, wiring, building, everything, right? It's a very, very informative, if you will, commodity. And if I'm to look at like a year-to-date chart on Dr. Copper, this is very bullish, and this tends to be in line with again, bullish economy, bullish SPUs. So if you believe the old adage, Dr. Copper tells you what the market's going to do, then we should be heading higher in the S&Ps. So it's interesting to talk about this because right now I'm fairly bearish as long as we don't take out new highs, right, that we made 2 weeks ago. But that's short term. But and this also is very it's been a very big run. So
Right. Look at
from
that
$2
run.
up to 330. So that's a monster run without any breaks. We took a little sell off there in the summer and just resumed back up. But again, very bullish profile here. Everything is, we're far out ahead of the value areas. So that's a little concerning. It's a little ahead of itself. And again, the way I look at things, I'd be curious to see what your momentum levels show on Dr. Copper.
Let me share. That was HG.
It's HG. Yep.
Is that right?
Yes.
Hold on. I thought I had it there. Copper futures. I hate it when I have it, but it's buried somewhere in the middle.
Just do /HG and it'll come up in when you search.
There it is.
But I think.
Let me share. Let me share, Matt.
Yeah.
I want to share, dang it. All right, there we go. Copper front, weekly, moonshot here, right into the weekly collar. And so let's fractal out one more time to the monthly, and lots of room. And the other thing too, when you go to this monthly, then you get to see all-time highs.
And again, I was only looking
at 2011 all the way out to 468.
Yeah.
Say that again.
I was only looking at a year-long chart, so it's good to look at.
Yeah. So 355 room on the monthly to the collar. I mean, if you're long copper and it gets to 355 and you don't take some chips off the table, I'm going to call you into the office and give you a stern talking to, right? You need to be taking profits.
Right.
For sure. Let's see how far the data on TradingView gives us here. We can go out to the quarterly, and that gives us pretty much the life of it. Yeah, so all-time highs, 466. Again, I like when this happens. So the same area on the quarterly as the monthly, that 355 level, or was it 455? I take it all back.
No, I think it was 355.
Right on. I mean, you got to be taking profits.
Yeah.
I mean, bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered.
Well, again, and the thing that I look at is this volume, right? Although the price is up, the volume is decreasing as we go up again. So it makes me kind of question again the validity of this move.
Right on.
It's just it's the easy drift kind of right now that I see. It's just, hey, it's long, we'll keep riding it. Momentum players just, they keep adding on every touch of your red line, or whatever, the middle line there, right? Every time.
Yeah, that's the average on it. And really only 2 closes. I take that back. 4 closes in since March below that average. And no closes below the lower momentum level.
Right.
And even more. Let me bring up one other thing here. I want to share because this is just going to get redundant. All right, just stick with the redundancy of storytelling and then what the market is actually telling you. This is from London Real, Brian Rose, incredible streamer. Took the model of Joe Rogan, but did live streaming. Now he's got a business accelerator. He's got the crypto guru on, and he's going to tell you all about the Gollum coin. And Tika Tiwari, and Tika's made a lot of money. He's a great analyst, but please, as we've ad nauseum said, please pay attention to what the chart's saying about this. All right, so it's on my radar, but here's the chart of it. This is a 3-day. It cannot hold up momentum on the 3-day. Please prove to me something on the weekly. Again, I mean, it's flatlined. It looks like it's going nowhere to me. And they're going to do a whole webinar on this crypto coin and how it's going to change the world again. And that's fine. And it might change the world. I got no problem with things changing the world. It's just this thing never goes parabolic until it can close and sustain momentum levels. That's all I'm telling you.
Does it also say my precious?
Right, exactly. And then one further step, looking at it against Bitcoin, I mean, it's trading at such a small level. But this chart too, all right, so you're in the quadrant, you love cryptos. Why on earth would you want to own this over Bitcoin? There's the weekly. 4 weeks in a row now.
I can give you one main reason: undercapitalization, gamblers.
Well, but you can buy, that's not true because you can buy a fraction of anything now in the crypto.
Yeah, but they don't. Everybody wants to own the whole, that's how it works.
Well, listen, that's fine, but that's not what a professional trader mentality is. All right.
All I can say is crypto to me is like pet rocks in the 70s and 80s.
And you can have that opinion, and that's no problem. If you
pet rocks had value,
here's what I do know.
Back then, and
I do know, Matt. Here's what I do know is that when you look at something, whether it be crypto or soybeans, and we can talk soybeans, you know what a strong chart looks like, and you know what a weak chart looks like, and you know what a strong profile looks like, and you know what a weak profile looks like. All I'm saying to you out there in the trading world is, for God's sakes, why would you want to own Gollum over Bitcoin? You can own either one with zero friction. It's easy to own either one.
Right.
Why would you have money in Gollum? I mean, it looks like it's going to go to zero against Bitcoin.
Yeah, and you continue to drive that point home very well. I think people need to recognize that, again, there's a reason why most people that want to trade indices prefer the S&P, because it's the big dog, right? It's, if you want to trade an index, still S&P, I would say it goes kind of S&Ps, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, right? Small cap. Those are kind of the way and they typically move in stride. They haven't been of late, which should be, again, a change of kind of, that's an underlying piece that people should be aware of, right? And that's what you're trying to point out. Nothing has fundamentally changed that has shifted to make Bitcoin the thing that is, it should be the only one that you're really focused on. And I think that's the point you're trying to
right, until the chart tells you something different.
Right.
Anyway, I like getting agitated, Matt. And nothing against Tika. I mean, I wish I had his bankroll.
Right.
But I do, you know what? I haven't seen a lot of people do this. It's like, listen, I'm going to tell you the story, but then I'm going to tell you at least something on the technical indicator side that you should maybe have some patience with before you jump in. That's all I'm saying. Find some sort of discipline. Because here's the other part. Where are you wrong now? Do you just ride it till they fucking turn the lights off?
Right.
And that's the problem that I have with so much of the content out there. What's my stop? Like, everybody's got a prediction, but do I just ride everything to zero when they turn the lights out?
Right. Yeah. I mean, Bitcoin could trade 100,000, but today it's not. So where's your risk today? Where's your risk today?
All right, what else you got before we leave for the weekend? Everybody's working for the weekend, Matt.
No, the weekend, again, we're coming into the holiday week. These markets have been really quiet for 2 weeks, Bob. And I think I would say to people, rest up, because I think that we're going to have some strife still coming before the end of the year. And maybe we'll make it through Thanksgiving and the temporary shutdowns before they become more permanent. But, I guess one thing, since we talked about copper, I would like to look at just silver real quick. We talk about gold all the time, and nothing's really changing there. 1850 keeps holding for gold, so I'm not going to touch on that again. We've touched on it this week a few times. Silver is right in the zone, right? It's been here, and again, it's trying to break down, trying to break up, but it's just basically balanced. So it's kind of like the S&Ps. Everything is kind of sitting in balance right now, and I find that to be interesting. Bonds, however, kind of went for a little ride this week. And
I mean, and what does that tell you? Like things aren't all as settled as everybody wants to think they are? Correct.
And I think this is a warning sign. I think, this may be, maybe telling us that there's some strife coming up and soon. So interest rates are being pushed down again right now. I happen to believe this is probably a start of an area. I even talked about it today. I'd be short really from here, 218 up to 222. As long as we don't close above this 224 area, this is we're starting to get in. We're just filling in the holes, if you will. We came right to the top of the hole here, and I think, and that hit 219 and change, 219 and a half or so. after a run from a new low, by the way, down here in the 209. So this is a big move that we've had in the past 2 weeks. And this coincides with the chop that we've seen in the S&Ps, right? So here you have interest rates, and the bonds bullish and interest rates bearish. I understand that when bonds go up, interest rates go down. If you haven't learned that yet, that's a very good understanding, by the way. But the SPUs, again, the last couple weeks after the Joe Biden self-anointed kingdom, high 336, 69, 70. All we've done is play again in these brackets. We've been, we've come up here, traded, this week, early in the week, 36, 30, 40, whatever it was. And then, we've got this little bracket down in here. I like to look at these brackets within the context of the profile, right? This starts to look, oh shit, this is looking heavy. This is really looking heavy. When you look at where we came from 3,200 all the way up here to nearly 37. That's a huge move. We saw all pre-election, right? We ran up, and now as we're making kind of this P pattern, and again, I'm not going to go into the intricacies of market profile, but when you have these P's, this is just a reverse P. Imagine it over here. It looks like the letter P. That's pretty bearish when you start to break below these levels. So 3480 goes, man, this thing, it could move swiftly back down to that low again, 3,200, because so many people, the more time you spend bracketing and trapping, the more violent the moves could be, up or down. And it could happen to the upside. We get back above 3640, this thing can go to 3,800, no doubt about it.
Right on.
You look
man.
You look at the width of this, and it starts to, you're looking at 120 points. So the next move, 120 higher, gets you nearly, 3,800, 120 lower from here, gets you down to about 3,400. So that's this level and this level. So that's where we are. Again, this is the way you need to look at markets. They're rotating always. They're constantly evolving and changing. It's a living, breathing mechanism. And, just be aware of where you are in the last couple breaths, so to speak.
That is the nuance, Matt. The market is evolving. It's always telling a story, and the story could be different depending on the fractal that you're looking at.
Yep.
You got to become your best own advocate on sticking to the methodology that you've developed. For sure, at MarketVitals.io, we're looking to help each other in that quest to the perfect trade.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, did you catch that Thursday night? It was probably one of the better listed games last night. Cardinals, Seahawks.
I caught some of it, and the athleticism, it just blows me away. The athleticism.
Kyler Murray is like unbelievable to watch. I mean, he's like 10x Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson played a great game and won again. That DK Metcalf, man, what a beast! He's a freaking beast.
It is unreal.
He's like a 6'5", 250 linebacker who's the fastest guy in the field with hands the size of Guam. Again,
I don't want to do the lay on your back, get up and tackle drill with him.
No doubt, man. That guy is brutal. That guy's a beast.
All right, Matt, listen, you have a great weekend. I will be skinning up Mount Bachelor this afternoon, earning my turns. Thank you, the rotation in the season. And as far as I've lived here in Bend, Matt, I've never seen Mount Bachelor with 40 inches of snow on it by the end of November. We've already had 80 up there. Crazy.
I've had it, and we've been open up there, November 4th or so before. So I've seen it, but this is it's good to it's good that they have the early season snow up there, so you hardcore nutbags can go up and get your workout in.
All right, I'll post a picture. Please join us at MarketVitals.io. Join the community. Subscribe to one of our private rooms. Take your trading level. And how about this? How about bring somebody else's trading level along with you up, right?
Yep.
The tide rises all boats. I've heard that somewhere. And actually, that's kind of what we're looking to do here. Build a community built on accountability to each other. I don't need somebody blowing smoke up my rear end about my position, especially when it's going against me. And that's what we're looking. That's what we're looking to do. Thank you, Matt.
All right, Bobby. We'll talk soon.
Right on.